It's true that Trump, for, let's say, blue-collar, conservative, white voters, there's nobody going to be like Trump. No one. I mean, like, Trump has a magic with this group, and it's not an insignificant group of people by any measure. But the question for those people is going to be, do you want to vote for the guy you love, but who's likely to lose, or do you like to vote for somebody who you like, but is significantly more likely to win?
We're sitting here in Florida. You guys are going to have an election in the next couple of years. The governor of this state, Ron DeSantis, is very likely to challenge Donald Trump for the nomination. Who do you back?
DeSantis.
Why?
Because do you want this from the why not Donald Trump or the why Ron DeSantis?
Both.
Yeah, I mean, there are two sort of angles. First of all, I'll preface this with whoever is the Republican nominee, I'm a conservative, I'm very likely to vote for them. Now, as between DeSantis and Trump, we'll start with the shortcomings of Trump. He's 76 years old. He has no ability to control his mouth or his typing fingers. He has no sort of actual plan to win. I mean, he literally complained in 2020 that he was robbed of the election through voter fraud, but no one will ask him a simple question. How do you plan to unrob the election in 2024? Right? Like, what's your plan for victory?
I did ask that of his former deputy assistant, Seb Gorka,
really?
when we interviewed
and
him.
What?
Well, people will have to wait and see.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Don't tell me off here. But he's trailing in every swing state poll. He is wildly unpopular with independents. He's wildly unpopular with women. He has an approval rating, last I checked, in the 20s. And he is 76 years old, and he already served a term. I mean, that's a pretty formidable list of reasons why you don't nominate and he lost to the guy who's going to run on the Democratic Party side already by 7 million votes. And by the available data, he will probably underperform how he performed in 2020. At least with, again, one of the hardest things in politics is to switch somebody's mind. Saying to millions of people, yeah, you voted for me in 2016, then you voted against me in 2020, and now I want you to switch back and vote for me. That's not even switching minds once. That's switching minds twice. That's super difficult. So, that's a hard thing. And that's putting aside all of the oddities and all the rest of the scandals and all that kind of stuff. The case for DeSantis is that DeSantis is extremely meticulous about how he approaches politics. You see, for example, there are no leaks from his campaign because he actually staffs up correctly, as opposed to Trump, who's going on Truth Social and bashing somebody he hired as an idiot every other day. He hired them. DeSantis actually doesn't have any leaks. He hires a team. He's very meticulous about it. When he focuses on an issue, he really focuses on an issue. He is good at actually governing. So the dirty little secret about Florida is a really well-governed state. Right? We have all the culture war stuff that makes the national media, but the stuff that doesn't make the national media is that when there's a hurricane, we're rebuilding bridges within like a day. Right? That the problems actually get solved here. That DeSantis brought down crime rates dramatically. That he offered police officer a $10,000 stipend to move into the state. Then in the state of Florida, if you have a kid who's going to school, you have available to you now, as of July, like an $8,000 school tax credit. So you can actually take your kid out of a public school if you want to and move them to the local private school if you think that that's a better school. I mean, these are very good things for people who are living in the state of Florida, which is why it's the #1 incoming state for population. So he's very good at just like the pure governance of it. And then on sort of the culture war front, he's taking on a lot of the culture wars in a way that really animates the base. The base doesn't want a Mitt Romney type who's going to be, sort of dull as ditch water, really glossy. They want somebody who's willing to get in the trenches and fight, which is why he's very popular in the primaries right now, because the media chose him as sort of its opponent. And that was over COVID, where he happened to be right, and the left happened to be completely wrong on that, using Andrew Cuomo, whose two missions in life were killing old people and grabbing ass, and he ran out of old people. The DeSantis has his governance during COVID, keeping the state open, keeping the economy running, was against all of what the media was saying, and he succeeded with that. So that's a really good case for DeSantis. Now, listen, there are flaws with DeSantis as a candidate. He's not nearly as sort of magnetic as Trump, because no one is. I mean, Trump is just like, he's been on TV for years and years and years and years, and the cameras are just drawn to him. I think that the battle for Trump is going to be between the fact that he's magnetic and the fact that he's extraordinarily tiring. Like, if you see him too much, everybody's just like, like, I can't with this. And for DeSantis, the battle is going to be, how do you keep people interested? Because he's very pugilistic, but he's not like an amazing speaker or something. He's not super personable. Trump's a big people person. He likes ripping people, and giving them a hug, and he likes, or at least shaking their hand. He likes going out in public. He likes the adulation. He likes interactions. That's not DeSantis. DeSantis is a lot more kind of reserved as a person, and so that's an uphill battle for him. But he also knows how to run a government, and if he gets into the presidency, then he presumably will not allow the quote-unquote deep state to thwart him. He'll just go in and he'll fire a bunch of people. Like he was in Congress. He's been a governor. He knows how to run things. So that's the case for DeSantis, and I think also against Trump.
And what would you say to those people who say DeSantis simply doesn't have the cut through with ordinary people like Trump does?
I mean, I don't know who the ordinary people are. So I think that's it's true that Trump, for, let's say, blue-collar, conservative, white voters, there's nobody going to be like Trump. No one. I mean, like, Trump has a magic with this group, and it's not an insignificant group of people by any measure, but the question for those people is going to be, do you want to vote for the guy you love, but who's likely to lose, or do you like to vote for somebody who you like, but is significantly more likely to win? And that really is going to have to be the question for people. I mean, I had this conversation with a guy the other day, and he's like, yeah, I think DeSantis has a better shot. There's a Wall Street Journal poll that came out this week that says the same thing. 41% of Republican voters say DeSantis is more likely to beat Biden. 31% say Trump. That same poll showed 51% voting for Trump in the primaries versus 38% for DeSantis. It's like, who are these 20% of people who don't think that Trump is likely to win, but will vote for him in a primary? Who are those people? Like that's such a weird thing. You're going to vote for him in the primary knowing that he's likely to lose. Like that seems very strange to me. I think that people have to get over this sort of weird dream-esque quality that they have about Trump, which is that he's sort of a miracle worker. And again, I think that actually goes back to 2012, because in 2012, when Romney ran and Obama was unpopular and Romney lost, the Democrats decided they were never going to lose another election, and Republicans also thought Democrats are never going to lose another election. They've built a new minority-majority coalition with some college-educated white people. They're never going to lose. They've got this thing from here on in. That was the theme for Hillary. And then Trump wins, and everybody's brain just breaks. The left goes, it must have been the Russians. The Russians must have stolen this thing. And the right goes, he must be a wizard. I mean, there's no way for us. There's no way for us to win. I mean, look at this. He lost by 3 million votes, but he pulled exactly like right in this place, like the bolts hit from Zeus, and suddenly he's president. Like the man works miracles. And then 2020 happens, and now the presuppositions are challenged again. So the left goes, well, maybe our coalition is more durable than we thought it was in 2016, and the right goes, well, maybe he's not a miracle worker. And then Trump says, I didn't lose. Like, well, maybe he's a miracle worker who got stiffed. Right, he's still a miracle worker. And so the question for a lot of Republicans is going to be, do you still think he's a miracle worker? Do you think that he's being jobbed? Or do you think that, like, political gravity applies? And he won one election, and then he lost, like, 3 elections. He lost 2018, he lost 2020, he lost 2022. Like, those are 3 elections he did not do well in.